Hello, hello. Good afternoon. I hope you're having an awesome Monday. I thought I would pop in here and share about some tools that I have been using. I don't think I've ever fully listed out some of the things that I've been using. I've done partial lists, but I wanted to pop on and talk a little bit about what I have been using, so that if you know anyone who is walking through grief, or if you are walking through grief, g'day Chris, how you doing? Hey Sherry, hey Deborah, hi Kim, that this would be a great video for you to share with them and give them some hope with what they are going through. Not those kind of tools, Chris. For those of you who don't know Chris, he's a very good friend of mine from college. He is married to my best friend, and he is hilarious and has a lot of blue. So that really shines through in his comments. So if you're ever like, who is this guy tormenting poor Sarah on her videos? No, it's okay. He's a bud. Hey Gail, hey Lisa, how are you guys doing? So today I wanted to talk about oils and emotions just a little bit. We're not going to go deep into the science or anything, but I have had a lot of friends who use Young Living kind of like whisper to me, like, Sarah, really? Oils for emotions? Like, is that really a thing? And I think all of us at one point were like, yeah, that's kind of weird and woo-woo, but I'm here to tell you it's not woo-woo. And the actual woo-woo part of the whole thing is thinking that our emotions are just these little things that kind of float through the air that we just feel. Like, emotions are actually real things, like chemical reactions in your body, chemicals that trigger hormone production. And so when you think about emotions, you kind of have to shift your thinking into emotions are a real thing, and not just emotions are these sensations that I feel, but they're an actual real thing that's in your body. And when they're not properly cared for, if you suppress them or press them into yourself, that they actually go and reside in parts of your body. Different emotions go to different parts of your body. And those parts of your body can then begin to suffer if you don't properly care for those emotions. So, as most of you know, last year and this year have been really emotional for me. And I've had to deal with a lot of different emotions and a lot of different ups and downs. And one of the best ways that I have been able to deal with that is using my essential oils. So if you've followed me for very long, you should know by now that I absolutely love Young Living essential oils, okay? In fact, I got to attend a class by Dr. Benjamin Purkis, and he teaches about the Aroma Freedom technique, which if you have not dug into the Aroma Freedom technique, let me tell you, you definitely want to do that. Sorry, I'm just organizing my little bottles here so that I can see all of them and not like knock them all over like dominoes on my desk as I'm talking. And so he teaches the Aroma Freedom technique, which you should Google it if you haven't heard of it. And the thing that he said that amazed me the most, and I don't mean to make any of you mad that are watching this that are not using Young Living, but he said, as a psychologist, only Young Living oils worked for his protocol. Like, he had multiple people try different oils, whatever brand they were using for his protocol, and it didn't work. So I found that very ironic and interesting. So, hey, Kimball, g'day. How you doing? That's like my best, worst Australian accent. We'll stop there. So I wanted to share, first of all, my all-time favorite oil, which it's really hard to narrow down when you have so many oils. But whenever you're going through something challenging, you want to have Valor on hand. Valor is such an amazing blend. I have loved Valor from the first day that I smelled it. When it went out of stock, I think many of us cried, and then it got reformulated, and I do like the smell of, look at that, the label just came off. I do like the smell of the reformulated Valor, which is the current Valor. But if you have not tried Valor, it is a must. And so a little history on Valor. Valor came about based on the herbal bath preparations that Roman soldiers used to take, and I'm sure it wasn't probably all the soldiers, probably more like the centurions, the ones who actually had access to bathtubs, I'm guessing, because I'm guessing not all of them are taking baths before, you know, they went into battle. So probably just your higher echelon soldiers here. But they would take baths, herbal baths, in preparation for battle. And so the herbal preparations helped them to have, well, to instill feelings of courage and valor. And so Gary kind of took that recipe and created Valor. And so Valor is awesome. And this might shock you, maybe it won't, but I actually use Valor before I do a Facebook Live. Yes, that's true. So speaking, public speaking, even on Facebook Lives, used to scare everything out of me. I didn't like talking. I didn't like coming on Facebook Lives. Like the thought that people could ask me a question that I might not know the answer to while I was on a Facebook Live just was too much for me. And so I loved my Valor. I've come a long way since then. I've done a lot of Facebook Lives since then. So if you're that person, know that there's hope for you. Hope and Valor. So get yourself some Valor. So Valor is my favorite. Now I found, or someone shared with me, I don't even remember, it's been so long ago. I found a protocol called the Great Day Protocol that includes Valor. And the funny thing is, I shared the Great Day Protocol with my team probably a month or so before Jacob passed away, not even having any idea that I would be using that protocol every single day after his passing. So I literally used the Great Day Protocol every day, and it helped me get through the day. It helped me not want to just go sleep in my bed all day long. And if you have not used the Great Day Protocol, I will go through it so you can see what's in it and how you apply it, because I think it's amazing. I can definitely tell a difference when I use the Great Day Protocol versus when I don't. And Valor before Facebook Lives, yes, it helps get you grounded, get you focused so that you at least look like you know what you're talking about. I'm just kidding. Jennifer, you should totally do a Facebook Live. Even if you just do one in a group of people that you're comfortable with, just do one and get it over with, and then you'll feel so much better. Like, not even kidding. Go do a Facebook Live. Like, unbox your ER order or something like that, but it's worth it. So you start off with Valor in the Great Day Protocol. Yay! So Gary first shared the Great Day Protocol in 1996 in Wyoming, of all places, which I just thought was added cool points. So he shared this protocol, and you start off with Valor. So you take Valor, and I guess, well, I'll just kind of demonstrate it because I already did it today. But so you take Valor. We'll just put Valor in because I love Valor anyway. But the other ones are a little hard to put on a Facebook Live. You put it on your wrist, and then you just hold onto your wrists. I like to put on my arms, so I'll hold up here. And you just hold onto your arms where you put the Valor. And you just breathe and relax until you feel a shift happen. Now, if you're like, what are you talking about? Just trust me. Okay, just put Valor on and just hold it like this in your arms. And just kind of relax until you feel a shift happen. And you'll feel it. It's just kind of like this calm that comes over you. And so once you feel that, then you can move on to the next step. So the next step is, I should have listed out these oils. So if you guys want to like do this with me, I'll do that real quick. Okay. So you want to have on hand Valor, Joy, Harmony, and White Angelica. Okay, so run and grab those oils and then come back. So we just did our Valor. So we did our Valor on our arms till we feel a shift. And the next up, we do Joy. Now we're going to do Joy 1 drop over our heart. And this oil is super flowery. If you've never smelled Joy, I'm just going to give you a heads up. It is wicked flowery. Like for those of you from New England, it's wicked flowery. Like kind of almost not a fan, but I love what it does for me. So yes, I use it and it's amazing for grief. Now, do I really think there's joy in this bottle? No, there's not joy in this bottle. But what is in this bottle are a bunch of oils that when combined go into the limbic emotional centers of my brain and cause my brain to release chemicals that are going to allow me to open up and be in a state at which I can feel joy. Because when you are grieving, you are essentially closing off. Like you're closing off kind of like a turtle. You're pulling all your arms and head into your shell because you feel hurt, you feel vulnerable, you feel like you just don't want to put yourself out there anymore. You're in so much pain you can't possibly take anymore. You're closing everything off. So what the oils in Joy do is they allow you to be able to open up again. Okay? So you're opening up. So that's what Joy does. So the second step is you take Joy. And even if you can't stand the smell, I encourage you to put it on anyway. There are oils that I have that I did not like to the point where I would put them on and they would make me feel sick to my stomach. Just Abundance is one of them. I know, really weird, but that's something that I have had to learn to move past. So you take your Joy and you put 1 drop of Joy over your heart. Even if you don't like the smell, guys, by the time you're done with this protocol, you're going to smell amazing and you're not going to smell like Joy. So put that 1 drop on there. Okay, next up, so we're on oil number 3 now, Harmony. Okay, you're going to put Harmony, and I got to stand up for this one. Here's my belly button. You're putting Harmony right here. Okay? So kind of the center, right between your sternum and your belly button is where you're going to put the Harmony. Okay? You're just going to rub some of that on there, right in here. Okay? Now, after you take that one, we are going to finish off with our White Angelica. Okay, White Angelica is what I lovingly refer to as our emotional non-stick oil. Now, why do I call it that? You know how when you have met someone, maybe you're talking to someone, and you get this feeling of heavy? Maybe it's negativity, maybe it's just a heavy feeling, and you don't know why you feel that way. And when you leave the conversation with the person, you still feel this heavy feeling. If you're empathic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that heavy feeling is like that person's emotions kind of got stuck to you and you're carrying them around with you as you're going through the day. So White Angelica helps to kind of create this non-stick coating on you so that when you are with someone and they're being negative or judgmental or whatever, all those things coming off of them that you feel like this, oh, stop it. You know, like if somebody's spitting when they're on stage and you're just like, oh, stop. White Angelica helps with that for emotions so that you can go out and you can talk to people and they can share their story and they can share their hurt with you and they can share whatever it is they're going to share with you, but it doesn't hang on you. It kind of just flows right off, you know, like water off a duck's back. So that's what White Angelica is going to do for you. So what you want to do is you take your white angelica, and you can use however many drops. I typically do 1 or 2. And I rub it in my hands, and I literally like just lightly touch all over, everywhere, all the way down to my toes. I kind of imagine that I'm making an emotional force field around myself with the oil. And that is the last step to the Great Day Protocol. And I have found so much goodness that has come from this protocol. There were days when I didn't feel like I could go. I didn't feel like I could do anything. And it's not like oils are some magical little like, oh, look, magic in a bottle. It makes Sarah feel better. No, 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 no. You have to understand, inside this bottle are compounds that come from a plant. These plant compounds go into my brain. They touch on chemical receptors. Those chemical receptors ignite. They light up and fire things in my brain. Those things produce hormones. They produce other chemicals that flood through my body and then cause me to have a response to the oil. It's not that Sarah's huffing on some plants and she feels real good. It's that these oils are doing amazing things for my emotional health. And yes, you can be a Christian and you can do this. There's nothing woo-woo about the little plant compounds in this bottle. The compounds in this bottle are not any different than compounds in medicine that cause things to happen in your body. The difference between what's in this bottle and what you get in a bottle at Walmart of pills is that's a synthetic compound that was synthesized from a plant compound, guys. I really want you to understand it's not just these little smelly liquids that we put on and we smell flowery and oh, now everyone's happy and la la la. No, no, no. They're actual compounds that do things in your body. Now, when you go and you buy a drug, whether it's a prescription drug or an over-the-counter, that is one compound that is synthesized chemically trying to copy a natural compound found in a plant. Now, when you have a plant compound, in plant compounds we have lots and lots of active compounds, and they all work synergistically together because God made them to work in a specific way with your body. So you have all of these naturally synergistic compounds that are all working together compared to a chemical compound in an OTC or a, pharmaceutical drug. Okay, now when you take out, so say, white angelica is not a single, so that's a bad. Oh, these are all blends. What do I have over here? We'll just use eucalyptus. Okay, say you have some eucalyptus, right? I don't know how many active compounds are in eucalyptus, okay? I probably should have picked lavender because lavender is a really good example of this. Lavender has 180 active compounds in the plant, okay? Now, to understand that, to translate it into what most people think typically of over-the-counters, prescription drugs, all of that, those things have one compound, okay? So, like 100, who knows, versus one, okay? So they take that one compound that they want it to do one thing, they pull it out, they chemically, synthetically reproduce it into a little pill form, and then they put it in your body. Now, because it's synthetic, sometimes it causes side effects. Hey, yay, boo. And then you have to end up taking things for the side effects, right? But because it's synthetic and there's only the one compound, there's no safety compounds in there, it acts on your body whether your body likes it or not. So if it's supposed to lower your blood pressure, guess what? It lowers your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is too low, guess what? Too bad. It's still going to lower your blood pressure, okay? Now, let's go to the natural compounds. When you have a natural compound, in here, because it's all the parts of the plant, and because God was hugely intelligent when he created the plants, he put safety systems into play, okay? And I'll use sugar as an example. This is my favorite example. Okay, when you eat honey, because of what's in honey, there is a certain tipping point where if you eat too much honey, you will throw up. Okay? Why? Why do you throw up? It's a safety mechanism because your body is recognizing that you have too much sugar for it to process in your body, and it's going to make you throw up the rest of the honey because you had too much. Okay? So what do? We went and we isolated the sweetener. Okay? We took and we refined sugar from sugarcane and from corn, and we created these sweeteners like high fructose corn syrup. You can eat high fructose corn syrup all day long. There is no safety mechanism in high fructose corn syrup that's going to make you throw up if you get too much in there. No, you'll just keep eating it, and then you'll get a headache or pass out, or your heart will start beating too fast. All these dangerous side effects because there's no safety mechanisms in play. Okay, so when God created food for us, when God created plants for us to use as medicine, when He created sweeteners for us to use in our food like honey, He put safety mechanisms in each and every one of those things. Hey Logan, how are you? So for example, well, I know this is eucalyptus and we're just talking about oils in general, but there are safety mechanisms because there's so many compounds in here. If your body doesn't need, say you poured a whole bottle of eucalyptus all over you and your body's like, whoa, I don't need that much. Guess what? It just flushes it out. It just flushes it out through your excretory system. Now, flip side, if you took too many OTCs or too many prescription drugs, you overdose and you could kill yourself because those things are going to act on your body and your body can't stop what it's doing. Where with natural compounds, your body's like, oh, put the brakes on. That's too much. We don't need any more of this. Flush the rest. Okay? So there you go. Safety mechanisms. I don't know how I just got into that, but you're welcome. So more into things that I have used walking out grief. So a sweet friend of mine shared a recipe with me, and it's a really simple recipe, and she calls it love spray. And she shared that she uses love spray on her children when they don't get along. Okay? Now, love spray has one oil ingredient in it, and it's rose. So what she does is she spritzes rose on her kids when they're fighting, and it helps them get along. Now you're like, oh golly, here we go again. Stop! Okay, she uses rose water, and yes, you can get this one off Amazon. I only use it because it's a good one, and you can't buy rose water from Young Living. Please, that would be awesome. And then what I do is I take my rose and I add 2 drops of rose into it. And then I just, ta-da, put it in a little spray bottle. This is like a lavender spray bottle. I reuse all my Young Living spray bottles. They're good spray bottles. And so I spritz on some rose every single day. So rose has lots of benefits, both for your skin, for your emotions. It's a high frequency oil, and have we mentioned the fact that it smells amazing? So there's that. So yes, summer rose petals on distilled water. Ooh, yes, that's a great idea. That's awesome. I'll have to try that out. So this is something that I spritz on. Okay, how many of you grew up in the 90s? Bath and Body Spray all over the place. Like, I remember getting ready for dinner in college, and this is what it looked like. Okay, I'm gonna act this out for you because I love you guys. It was literally like, I'm just gonna do it because I love the rose. This is what before dinner time looked like in a girl's dorm. Right? It's like the girl version of Axe body spray. I can't even see because my glasses are covered. But if that was you in the late 80s, early 90s, give me some hearts because that was me with my sweet pea or raspberry. I like the raspberry one. Anyway, this was back when I was using fragrances and had no idea what I was doing to my endocrine system. So I hope I made you guys laugh. But so yes, so now you can have that same experience every single day without feeling guilty or, any of that with your love spray. So make yourself some love spray, have a field day in your bathroom, and walk out feeling awesome and smelling great. Now I'm all damp, but I smell good. All right. Okay, next up, I'm going to tell you these next couple oils I'm going to talk. Yes, same with the hairspray. Yeah. So the next couple oils I'm going to talk about should probably come with a warning label. I'll share a little bit about Awaken first. So Awaken, and I know this is an older one. I don't use this one very often for a very good reason. Jacob said that, I just have to share the story. So when I first got into Young Living, I got the product catalog, right? And I was going through the product catalog, reading the descriptions of these oils. And I read Awaken. And he was like, you're never allowed to put that oil on me. Like, And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we got the kit and we got our Silver and Six kit, which comes with like all these oils. And it was in the afternoon, late evening. And he's like, man, I'm really feeling tired. I think I'm going to go put an oil on. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So he goes and grabs Awaken. He's like, I put some Awaken on because I need to wake up. And I was like, you have no idea what you just did. So everything was normal for about 30 minutes. I was laying on the sofa and he was sitting in his chair next to the sofa. And all of a sudden, everything just like the dam broke. The water came out. It was like, just talking. And he's like, I don't even know why I'm saying this. Like, just talking. And finally he's like, why? What just happened? Like, what is going on? And I said, you put Awaken on. Awaken is not for waking up. Awaken is for awakening your mind and your memories and getting your brain going so that you can start to process emotions. And he goes, that was insane. He said that bottle needs to come with a warning label. And so I'll warn you, if you use Awaken, be prepared to have some good talk time or have a friend over that you trust, because you are going to let loose with your words. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean in a good way. Like, you're going to let things out in a good way. And it's really good for getting things going. Now, if you're one of those people who doesn't have a problem talking, extrovert, then I would encourage you to use Release. Okay, so a lot of us hold emotions in parts of our body, and for me, being a red, sometimes I tend to hold on to anger, or I get angry about things and I don't process it properly. And so anger is one of those emotions that is stored in the liver. And so what you do is you take your Release and you put it over your liver area. And I'm going to warn you, you need to be in a place where you feel safe, because everything's going to get real vulnerable up in there. You might possibly cry. There's going to be some good stuff happening, okay? What I like to do is I like to put Release in my diffuser. But here's what I found. Crying takes place, and the crying is good, but I just keep on crying and don't feel closure. So I was using Release, and I found myself crying for like 3 days. Like, I just be going through my day and then all of a sudden lose it. And then the next day, same thing. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I feel like I'm going insane. I was diffusing release at night. So what I did is I went and I added acceptance. And I'll be honest, even just looking at this bottle, when I first got this bottle, which this is my second bottle of acceptance, I couldn't even open the bottle. I didn't want to look at the bottle, and I didn't want to smell the oil in the bottle. So it took me a couple days to kind of just get to the point where I could be okay with that. So what I did is I did about 4 drops of release, and man, I smelled release now. Okay, I'm all right. 4 drops of release in my diffuser, and then I added 2 drops of acceptance into the diffuser. And that helped me to feel like, one, I could cry and I could release my emotions. But then the acceptance kind of like finalized it for me, where I felt like I was having closure to the crying. It wasn't just nonstop crying. It was, there's closure here. And now we can move forward onto the next step, the next level, I guess you could say. And so I tell people these two together are magical. Not literally magical, people. I'm not saying oils are magical. They're an awesome combination. Okay, better word choice here. So these two are ones that I like to put in the diffuser at nighttime. And the reason I do that, as opposed to like straight up slapping that release on my liver area, is because for me, I need a little bit of a slower, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of a slower emotional release. I think some of us, especially those of us who are reds or even blues that are all like gung-ho, running, highly motivated types, like let's get it done, you know, we're all about goals and all that stuff. We tend to jump in with both feet without looking at what we're jumping into. And I think sometimes we don't give ourselves the grace that we need to land. And so, hi Carol. And so we end up in these like deep emotional puddles where we feel like we are completely lost and totally out of sorts and frustrated and all of that. So yes, for those of, if you're like that at all, you definitely need to go nice and slow. And I know slow sounds terrible because more must be better. And is there a faster way to do this? No, unfortunately not. There's not a faster way to walk out grief. Hi, Elaine. So remember, grief is a process and it's going to be with you your entire life. The point is to learn how to live with it. The point is to learn how to function through it. And it's going to come and go. It's going to ebb and flow. But you need to be able to still exist and be a parent and walk out what it is you need to walk out while you are grieving and going through that process. Hi, Lorraine. And so for that, that's why I suggest diffusing at night, because it's a great way to process while you're sleeping. When we dream, I don't know, they don't even like do this on new computers, but for those of you who are kind of computer nerdy, we used to have to defrag our computer. So computers are like filing cabinets. And anytime your computer runs a program, it would be like opening up the filing cabinet, taking out the file that's the program, and then slapping it on top of the filing cabinet. Eventually, the filing cabinet is empty and all the files are stacked on top of the filing cabinet, and now the computer's having to like sift through all those files to find which one it wants, and it takes longer and longer to do that each time. And so you would defragment your computer, which is like taking all those files that are stacked on top of your filing cabinet and putting them back in your filing cabinet. So if you think of your brain like a computer, when you sleep, your brain is doing the same thing. It's going back over your day, going through your memories, and just kind of taking all of those bits and pieces and filing them where they're supposed to go, so that when you wake up, you can function in a healthy way. So you want to, all these oils are like, you want to be able to help support your brain in doing that while you sleep, because why not? It's already doing that process anyway. Like, why not give it some extra support while you're doing that? So that's my other favorite combo. Another oil that is great for grief, and I'll be honest, I have not used this one very much, mainly because when I like something, I tend to kind of stick with it over and over. I think maybe that's my green side. Kind of get stuck in an oily rut. I'm trying to break out of that. I'm working on it. But an oil that was recommended to me that I really didn't even want to purchase because I didn't like the name of it is Trauma Life. And obviously, as is evidenced by the fact that there's only half a bottle left, I have used some of this and I've used it on my kids. So Trauma Life, obviously, is really good for walking out trauma. And you want to apply this to the back of your neck when you use it. Now here's another cool fact. So when Dr. Purkis wrote the Aroma Freedom Technique, originally Trauma Life was the oil that was used for his process. But when Young Living had some trouble sourcing some of the ingredients in Trauma Life, he had to find a new pattern and group of oils that did the same kind of thing. And that's when he found the frankincense, lavender, and stress away combo for the Aroma Freedom Technique. So if you have Trauma Life, you can use Trauma Life in place of the Memory Release Blend, is what he calls it. So that's a really great one. What else do I have in here? So another oil that I like to use regularly, and this is an old bottle. I think I have a couple different bottles open of this oil, is Highest Potential. And it's funny, my first memory of this oil, Jacob and I were attending convention 2014. It was our first convention. And Darren Hardy was speaking to the leaders. And we were so excited because we had just hit silver, literally like the month before convention. And so we got to be included in this meeting where we got to hear Darren Hardy speak. And this guy sat next to Jacob, and this was our first experience with convention. We'd never been to Young Living convention before. And he pulls out an oil. Of course, everybody's like pulling out oils all the time. Pulls out an Highest Potential. And he passes it to Jacob and I. And it was like, this is like, that's your oil, dude. You're sharing your highest potential with us. Thank you. Like, I was so blown away by the generosity of Young Living people. It was my first experience with Young Living people that were not on my team. And just the generosity of Young Living to us at that moment was just so cool. And over the years, especially last year, I have been blessed to walk out and be the recipient of so much generosity from the people in Young Living that I just cannot and will not stop talking about how awesome Young Living is as a company and a group of people. So, those are the oils that I wanted to come on here and talk about. I hope that this was helpful for you. They have certainly been life-changing for me. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask me about oils that I've used, or if you forgot what I said, or I don't know, ask ask me anything, whatever. I'm an open book. Most of you should know that by now. If you have a question, just ask and I'll answer it. But I just wanted to offer some hope, because there's so many people out there hurting. And I think, if anything, when you walk through something terrible, it allows you to see the pain in other people. It was amazing to me to be able to connect to people, to friends that had lost, in a completely different way after walking out the loss of Jacob last year. And when you can see that pain, you want to be able to share hope, because if something works for you, then it can work for someone else. And so that's why I wanted to come in here and share that with you guys, because all of us are going to walk through this. Nobody is exempt from pain and suffering, and sadly, death. None of us are exempt from it. Every single one of us is going to lose someone before we go. And being able to walk that out in a way that allows your body to feel the emotions but release them at the same time is so, so good. So share this video if you want to. Certainly had some funny points in it here, but there's hope. There's hope out there. And if you're watching a replay of this video, if you're not in Young Living yet, then I would encourage you to reach out to the person who shared it with you, because yes, they are little bottles of essential oil, but the power that is contained in these little bottles of oil and the number of compounds that are in here that are going to act on your brain in such unimaginably amazing ways is just, it's just so amazing. So if you've ever been on the fence, or maybe you've used Young Living for years and you're like, we don't use them for emotions. Yeah, I used to say that too. They are there for you. Now, obviously, my hope comes from Jesus Christ. My hope doesn't come from a bottle. But when I need my body to perform the way that I need it to in order to be a mom and to be a leader and to be a friend, that is when you need to know that you have tools in your toolbox that can help you walk that out and help you get to a place where it's a lot easier for you to do that than without them. So with that, I hope you guys have an amazing, extra white Angelica. Yay! I hope you have an amazing rest of your Monday. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.